Welcome back to Two Sense Unfiltered, the show where we bring clarity to ideas that are destroying common sense. Today, we're tearing open a word that gets thrown around more than almost any political term in modern America: socialism. Some people call it compassionate, some call it inevitable, some call it progress. But is it any of those things in reality? In this deep dive, we're going to strip away the academic phrases, the emotional marketing, and the utopian fantasies and get to the actual truth. What is socialism really? How does it work? Why do so many young people like it? And why, historically, does it always collapse under its own weight? But to truly understand socialism, you also have to understand the system it always compares itself to: capitalism. You can't judge one without examining the other. So today, we're going head to head: socialism versus capitalism, not in theory, but in real world outcomes. Let's get into it. What socialism claims to be. Socialism is often sold using a very simple emotional sentence: the rich shouldn't profit off the poor. That sentence triggers resentment. It appeals to fairness. It sounds morally noble. Socialism sells itself as a system where the government steps in to protect the people from greedy corporations and wealthy elites. The academic definition is socialism: a political and economic system where the government owns or controls the means of production, distribution, and major industries to create equality. That means factories, energy, transportation, healthcare, major industries aren't owned by entrepreneurs or private companies, but by the state. So on paper, socialism says we'll remove profit motive and everyone will live equal. Sounds good as a slogan, but slogans are not systems. Why socialism appeals to young people. Let's be honest, most modern socialism supporters aren't reading Karl Marx. They're reacting emotionally to the economic stress around them: rising rent, student loans, inflation, health insurance costs, stagnant wages, frustration with big corporations. So when they hear free healthcare, free college, free housing, guaranteed income, it hits like a miracle. But what's missing is the second half of the sentence. Free. For who? Because college professors still need salaries, doctors still need to be paid, manufacturers still need materials, hospitals still need equipment. So the word free is dishonest. In socialism, free really means higher taxes, state control, less personal choice. It's not actually free. You're simply forced to pay through a new pipeline: the government. Nothing in human history has ever been free. Someone always pays. The theory versus the reality. Socialism says everyone gets an equal slice. Capitalism says everyone has an equal chance to bake their own bread. Socialism attacks outcome. Capitalism protects opportunity. One tries to force fairness. The other allows individual ambition, which leads us to the real core difference. Socialism is based on limitation. Capitalism is based on possibility. In socialism, wealth is pre-existing and must be divided. In capitalism, wealth can be created. You can't spread the wealth if you don't first create the wealth. This is why capitalism has lifted more people out of poverty in 250 years than socialism has in over 150 years. What capitalism actually is, not the caricature. Capitalism isn't corporate greed. Capitalism is voluntary exchange, free enterprise, private ownership, profit incentive, competition. It's the freedom to create, the freedom to start a business, the freedom to choose where you work, the freedom to keep what you earn. Capitalism rewards innovation. Socialism punishes it. Capitalism says if you invent something valuable, you get rewarded. Socialism says if you invent something valuable, it belongs to everyone. Which system do you think encourages more invention? Real world socialism, actual case studies. Let's get brutally real. Soviet Union started with equality, ended with starvation, gulags, collapse. China Mao's socialism killed tens of millions. China only rose when it embraced capitalist reforms. Cuba doctors earning $30 a month. Food rationing. People flee on rafts. North Korea central planning equals famine. Venezuela, they promised free everything. Within 20 years, they went from richest in South America to citizens literally eating zoo animals. Every case is different, but the outcome is identical. Socialism produces shortages, corruption, rationing, repression, black markets, because the incentives collapse. Without incentive, output dies. Human nature doesn't disappear just because the government passes a law. Why socialism always fails: because socialism requires something that has never existed and never will: perfect human beings running a perfect government. Human nature ruins socialism. You can't take profit away and expect innovation to stay high. You can't eliminate competition and expect quality to rise. You can't destroy private ownership and expect individual ambition to remain strong. Socialism depends on the honesty of leaders and the obedience of citizens. Capitalism depends on voluntary exchange and the pursuit of your own best interest. Which one is more realistic? What socialism actually costs? Socialism sounds free, but the cost is not dollars, it's liberty. Socialism costs freedom of choice, freedom to work where you want, freedom to own private property, freedom to innovate, freedom to build wealth. When the government provides everything, the government controls everything, and the government that gives can also take away the final word. At the end of the day, socialism isn't a plan for prosperity, it's a plan for equality of misery, not equality of opportunity. The idea is emotional, the results are catastrophic. Capitalism has flaws, and we all know that. But capitalism produces innovation, mobility, invention, wealth creation, rising standards of living, choice. Socialism produces control, dependency, stagnation, decline. That's not a theory, that's world history. Closing thoughts. If socialism worked, even once, the world would have at least one successful example. There isn't one. That tells you everything. This is Two Sense Unfiltered. If you're still here, you're the kind of person who wants truth, not slogans. Hit subscribe, hit like, drop your thoughts below, and I'll see you in the next video, unfiltered and unapologetic.